Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the PIHRA member orientation for February 2025. Can't believe it's going to be Thanksgiving. It's going to be Valentine's Day tomorrow. So January went by in a blur, and we're already in February and heading towards spring. So this is exciting times. Um, so I think we'll have some more people join us, but let's get started. Just so you know, I plan on spending the next 60 minutes together. So thank you for taking your lunchtime with us. If you haven't already, grab a bite, grab something to drink. I have a lot to cover, and we will likely spend the next 60 minutes together, give or take 5 minutes. I also will plan to follow up with everyone with an email. So you will get the slides that we're presenting. Hello. And also some links. So in the email, if there's anything that comes up during the webinar or that has come up in the past, I will send notes on all those things, referring you to different sites to help get you more information on whatever topic we have focused on. Oh, and again, we do this every month, so I may include information that you didn't ask about, but it may be of interest to you. Let's see, that's about it. Feel free, we don't have a large group today, so feel free to write questions in the chat. Put your LinkedIn address in the chat because the networking and connections and community building starts now. We want to make sure that everyone finds their community, and so use the chat. Because we have a smaller group, we may be able to have you unmute and ask questions live. I do want to answer all your questions live if possible, and I think that shouldn't be a problem. So again, welcome, and let's find out what we're going to be covering today. I'm in the welcome and general update portion. The next thing we're going to do is a poll. So get ready. We're going to launch a poll. We like to figure out up front what are the things, the topics, the questions that you have up front so that I can make sure you walk away from this webinar with the information you need to make a decision to become a member. If you're not already a member, I think most of you are, or your next step in terms of leveraging your membership and getting value out of your membership. So we want to make sure we do that, and we'll take a poll. We ask you for, that one thing that you want to walk away with, but if there's more than one thing, just include it in the chat, not a problem. Then I'll introduce myself a little bit more. I'm not PIHRA Programs. I'll change that in a moment. And also we'll have our special guest, Aileen DeWar Costello, introduce herself. And then we'll get into the body of the webinar. We're talking about, who's PIHRA, our membership demographics. We'll also talk about our membership benefits, learning and networking at PIHRA, and then we'll wrap up. So let me just change my name here because I forgot to do that. And we'll get started. Let me name myself. So my name is Liliana Arguello, and I'm the Director of Membership. Okay. Let's go. I see some things in the chat. Oh, great. Thank you for sharing your LinkedIn. I'll do that in a moment as well. Okay, so general update. I know it's been several years since the pandemic, but we were just talking earlier, it's raining today. And so what happened during the pandemic is that we went totally virtual. So we're doing a lot of webinars, a lot of virtual activities, and that is fantastic. And on top of that, our 18 chapters are meeting. A lot of them are meeting once a month. So there's so many things to do. Our webinars are free for members. So if you're not a member, think about it. You'll save a lot of money. Just today, there was a great webinar that was hosted by one of our chapters, PIHRA South Bay, on the devastating effects of challenging boss. And I don't know if that was the exact title, but something to that effect. So our chapters are meeting in person. They are doing webinars. The other thing that came out of that era is that we are now much more focused on meeting our members where they are. So a great example is North OC, and I think Aileen could talk a little bit more about them, but they rotate the type of meetings they have. So one month they'll have a breakfast meeting. The next month they'll have a lunch workshop slash lab type of event. And then the following month, so the third month, they will have an evening social. So they're trying to capture the time constraints of everyone. So I know I have a daughter, I have to get to school in the morning. I can't really do breakfasts, but I could do lunches and I could do evening events. So we have so much going on. The best place to go is the PIHRA calendar at pihra.org/calendar and register there and find out where the meetings are because our chapters aren't brick and mortar. They can meet anywhere. Usually they'll meet at a restaurant or a hotel or things of that sort. Um, and I really think that the events that they put on are affordable, accessible because we're throughout Southern California. There's probably a meeting near you and actionable. And so it's just a really great community and want to make sure that you know that up front that we're meeting, we have virtual activities and in-person activities. Okay, so I'm so glad more people joined us. That's fantastic. Let's go into the poll. Elisa, do you want to launch the poll? Do you see that? All right. Okay. So this is our poll. What information are you interested in receiving during this webinar? Uh, Select one, but if there's something else or you select other, please put it in the chat so that I can make sure to address that. If I don't have the information with me now, quickly, I will absolutely research it for you and get back to you. All right, we have 100%. Okay, I'm going to end the poll, 100%. And it's kind of, most people are interested in PIHRA seminars and conferences, so we could talk about that. Let me make myself a note. And then chapters. I think I can share the results here. Okay, good. HR certification, volunteering. Great, wonderful. I think we could keep that up and record that for a second, and then we could stop sharing. So what I'll do is do the best I can to focus on these areas, but we'll cover everything um, in the presentation. I might skip over some things a little bit more quickly just to get to the educational piece because I think I see more people wanting to know about seminars, conferences, and HR certification. Great. Now feel free to chat us up in the chat box because we love to see questions there as well. So I'm right here in the middle. My name is Liliana Arguello. Everyone calls me Lily. Feel free to call me Lily. I am the Director of Membership. I joined PIHRA in 2014, and I love working with our members. My background is in organizational development as a consultant, and then I was looking for an internal position right around 2007, 2008, and there was a recession going on. So I ended up going into nonprofit, and that's how I joined PIHRA. I eventually ended up being a membership manager at Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles. And that was more about partnership building and promoting the largest leadership development program in the world for young women. And so this is a great marriage between my organizational development, leadership development background, and nonprofit. So when I was a consultant, I did a lot of work in the HR strategy area and with HR practitioners coming in as a partner for them, leading strategic planning meetings and management training. So I want you to know that I am here for you. I'm your advocate. Please email me at membership@PIHRA.org. It's on the slide. I'm really good with email. You can also call me and leave me a message. My promise to you is that I will get back to you within 24 hours in the working week. So every now and then I may send you an email on a Saturday if I'm trying to catch up with something or finishing reports. So I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to tell you about PIHRA and what we have to offer. And I now would like to have my right hand on the membership team introduce herself. Elisa, you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you, Lily. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on your lunch break. I'm excited that you're here. And like Lily, I hope that you get the best out of this webinar. So I'll be monitoring the chat box throughout the webinar. Feel free to, if you don't want to unmute, type in your question and we'll get to it as soon as we're able to. So just a little bit about me. I am the membership coordinator here at PIHRA. I have a background in journalism, communication, and PR. I've been with PIHRA for 8 years now. So, uh, I'm very accessible as well. I may be the first person you speak to if you dial the main number. So feel free to do so if there's any questions that you have after the webinar or throughout your membership term. If you are already a new member, feel free to call us, email us as well. We're very accessible, like Lily mentioned, and we want to help you get the most out of your membership. So thank you again, and I'll hand it back to Lily.
Thank you, Elisa. Elisa is awesome. She does almost everything that I do, so feel free to reach out to her as well. One of you asked about volunteerism. Well, PIHRA is primarily volunteer-led. It does have one of the largest staffs of any SHRM affiliate in the country, but primarily we're volunteer-led. So I'm going to introduce you to a couple of volunteers during the course of this next 60 minutes. The first one I'm going to introduce you is Sonia Montiel. She is the 2025 chair of the membership committee. So she is my liaison with the board. And there's so many ways to volunteer with PIHRA. We can't do PIHRA without our volunteers. They're super special. You can see Sonia. She is in the Ventura County area, so you might see her at a PIHRA Ventura County meeting. You will likely see her at the California HR conference, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. Um, and she's fantastic. She has a leadership development background in the educational sector, and she has so many great ideas of how to engage our members this year that I'm very excited to be working with her this year. And now for our special guest, Aileen Dewar. You've been around PIHRA for a long time. Tell our group about yourself.
Okay, thanks, Lily. Yeah, my name is Eileen Dewar Costello, and I have been a member of PIHRA, to tell the truth, since 2002. Yeah, I joined when I was two now. But yeah, so and I joined originally. It was a referral. I was introduced to PIHRA, and I started with the North Orange County chapter because that's where I lived, and so it was great making connections and learning a lot about human resources. I was very young and new in my career at the time. And before I knew it, and I think it was 2003, I was recruited to come on to the North Orange County board there to help with the chapter meetings. And I started doing hospitality. And before you know it, they were like, oh, well, I think you can do more than just that. So I started helping with sponsorships, acquiring sponsorships for the chapter. And I actually designed the first sponsorship programs that chapters had at that time. And then it was replicated throughout the association. And then the next year, they were like, oh, Eileen, what if you wanted to be chair? And I was like, chair? How could I be chair? That's like too much for me. And so they said, well, what about vice chair? And so that was actually 2005. And so I said, okay, I'll be vice chair. And 3 months in the year, the chair of the chapter, Tim Trujillo, announced that he was retiring and moving to Tehachapi. And so all of a sudden I was chair. And so I stepped up to doing that role, and it was a great opportunity for me to learn by fire a lot of leadership skills, because as a chapter chair, you basically run, it's like running a small business, honestly. We're always putting on programs, and we have a treasury that we have to manage, marketing. I mean, it is like running a little small business, and then you stand in front of the audience at the breakfast meetings and have to do the presentation. And at the time, during those days, the chair of the chapters also served on the overall board of PIHRA. And so once a month, we would go to downtown LA and spend an evening, and I mean from 5 o'clock until 10 or 11 doing PIHRA business. But thankfully, we've reorged all of that. So I did that for 2 years. 1 year and 9 months. And then I joined in that second year of being chair. Terry Colasa, a former past president, he was running a strategic planning committee for the association in 2000, I guess it was 2007. And I volunteered to be on that. And I kind of represented the young professionals. Terry always joked that I was the first YP of PIHRA, but the young professionals on that committee. And, we designed a strategic plan for the association. And from that work, at the end of that year, they asked me, Terry and the president at the time asked me to step up and be the VP of Education for PIHRA. And so that role is called a different title now, but at that time, I oversaw the California HR conference, which was then named the PIHRA conference. And then I also oversaw a lot of the programs, for the association as a whole. And I did that role for 2 years. And then I stepped away from volunteerism until 2015. I came back to the North Orange County Board, and I did programs for a couple of years for them. And then I became chair again for 2 years. And through that time, we did strategic planning again, which did change the board structure to where now we have what I am as a regional representative. And so no longer do chapter chairs have to serve on the board, which makes it so much easier to be a chapter chair to just focus on your chapter. Instead, we now have these regional representatives that are, I liken it to being like a congressperson, that I'm the liaison between the board and the staff to the local chapter. And so my region is the Southern region. And so I help to support the North Orange County, South Orange County, and San Diego community of PIHRA. And so I've been doing this for 3 years now. And so I have really enjoyed my experience at PIHRA. It's given me lots of leadership opportunities. And I have friends from all the way back when I joined in 2002, and it's just been really great for me.
Eileen, you're a great example of volunteerism. I just think period, but I'm not quite sure who said they were interested in volunteering, but I get a hold of Eileen. Eileen, I always mess that up. I don't know why
Right?
that is.
Spelling.
Eileen. Um, so I think you shared your LinkedIn. Please connect with Aileen, because I think that it's a great example of starting in hospitality at the chapter level and then growing from there and then going on to the larger board. And you'll get a better sense of our structure in a moment. We'll show you a map of our chapters, but we do have chapters that are quite autonomous. They have their own board. Then we have the association board. So that is a great example. And thank you so much for all your service, Aileen. It's just fantastic. We cannot do this without you and without your input. And it is a lot. It's, becoming, and it's really, you can design your own volunteer experience. But what I like about volunteering is that, and especially with PIHRA, it's low risk. No one's kind of breathing down your throat. You bring your assets to the organization, and you're building these leadership skills that are so transferable. I've been lucky enough to have supervisors in my life that are encouraging me to take on these leadership positions. So I'll talk a little bit more about volunteerism, but that's a great example. And Aileen, please chime in. We're going to be talking about the chapters and different conferences, and Aileen has done it all and knows a lot. So if anyone has any questions, again, feel free to ask Aileen, and she'll be chiming in as we go forward. So a little bit about PIHRA as an association, the larger entity that we're talking about here. So here's our mission. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but we exist to engage and elevate and serve, educate, inform the HR community in Southern California. I'll show you a map of all of our chapters. Um, and we do that through providing programming, innovative, impactful professional development that serves for you to be recertified. If you are already certified, you get recertification credit. We also have a fantastic community. Me and I'll introduce you to, on the staff side, our CEO, and me and his name is Raphael. We agree that this is about building community. That's really how we differentiate ourselves. And one of the things that I learned from the pandemic and previous to the pandemic as I got older in my career, it's like you can't do it alone. You need people around you. Don't wait until there's a layoff at your organization or you're feeling uncomfortable or undervalued where you are. Build your network now because there's data out there through the Bureau of Labor Statistics that I think it's like 75 to 80% of the people that find their job find it through their network. And we have a fantastic community. So please go to meetings, go to webinars. If you can't leave the office like today, we were talking about probably not a great day to leave leave home or leave the office, but get out there. I've made so many friends as well, as Aileen was talking about. Okay, here's some key players. Susan Bowman is the president of the PIHRA board. Again, that is the association-wide board. She just got voted in. Really excited to be working with Susan. She has several certifications. We'll talk about certifications later, but she is very accessible and open and wants to speak to not just our volunteer leaders. We have over 200 volunteer leaders, by the way, but our members. She wants to hear from you. She is working very closely with the staff and with the other members of the board, and so she's just fantastic. She is an HR practitioner. She is a senior HR manager at Rite Aid, so has that experience as well. Also on this slide is Rafael Rivera. He's on the staff side, our fearless leader. He's a chief executive officer, and he has extensive experience in developing associations and creating top-notch conference programming. Before he was with the National Society of Hispanic Engineers, that's how we got connected. I actually got this job through LinkedIn because I was also volunteering and doing some volunteer leadership for the National Association of Women MBAs, and he knew someone I knew in that community, and so little plug for having a fantastic LinkedIn profile and doing volunteer leadership because it leads to different opportunities. I love working with Rafael. He's built a fantastic team. He's got us through the pandemic, which was a challenge, and we're still kind of, getting through that process. But he's very accessible on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, he's also a great connection to have. And Susan, just look them up on LinkedIn. They're fantastic. They'd love to hear from you. Okay, here's a little bit about any questions. I feel like I'm talking a lot and going fast. I'm trying to get through this so we can focus in on what you guys asked me about. Um, anyway, quickly, these are our members. Right now we have right around 3,440 members. Um, we've gotten smaller since the pandemic. Before the pandemic in 2019, in April of 2019, we had 4,800 members. So we're smaller, but we're still a fantastic community. And the demographics are kind of the same. They're shifting a little bit. Right now, 40% of our members are at the HR manager generalist level, HR business partner. We have 20% are HR directors. We have 10%, 11% HR consultants. We have right around 8% are HR vice presidents or above, CHROs, CPOs. We have HR specialists and coordinators that represent a smaller, right around 10%. We also have employment law attorneys. They represent around 2% of our community. And then service providers. We split this up in a different way. Um, Service providers are right around 6%. And those are folks who, for example, the insurance brokers, a PEO specialist, health and wellness specialists, financial advisors, and they join. They also, a lot of them are taking volunteer opportunities with PIHRA, and they are here to build relationships. Typically, they're not very aggressively sales focused. They're here to build relationships and help you. I think they're great connectors and like to maintain relationships with them. And here's a great example. I was at a PIHRA, by the way, I was a PIHRA member before I ever dreamed of being on staff. And I would go to the PIHRA Long Beach chapter meetings. And during those meetings, they'll share who's looking for work or who has an open position. And a lot of the this example is an insurance broker. He stood up and said, "Hey, I know of a HR director position in downtown LA. If anyone's interested, I'd be happy to make an introduction with the hiring manager." Perfect. So they're just a great natural partner to the HR community. The last thing I want to talk about on this slide is right around 40% of our members are HR certified through HRCI or SHRM. And we'll talk a little. I have a slide later. We could talk a little bit about that. So this is important to our membership. We have out of any SHRM affiliate. By the way, we are a SHRM affiliate. We're the largest SHRM affiliate in the United States, and I think we're the largest in the world, actually. Um, just so you know, SHRM is the Society of Human Resource Management. They're based out of DC, and they have, gosh, I want to say 500 affiliates or more than 500 affiliates in the United States, and we're the largest. So um, we have the reason I mentioned that, and I should have mentioned that earlier, is that we have the most SHRM certified members than any other affiliate in the country, which is pretty cool. I love that. So, and I am a big fan of the certification, and we could talk a little bit more about that. If you have any questions about this slide, please drop it in the chat. I'd be happy to answer that. And let me know if anyone else has anything to chime in. Okay. Someone asked about chapters. Here's the map. I hope you could see it well. Our footprint is Southern California. We go as far north as Antelope Valley, and on the coast, we go to Ventura County. So for example, our PIHRA Ventura County group, they meet out of Camarillo, I believe is the city. And they're kind of a mid-size to smaller size chapter. We go as far east as PIHRA Coachella Valley. They meet out of the Palm Desert, and they're kind of a mid-sized to smaller chapter. Our largest chapter is PIHRA South OC, and they kind of change around their meetings. I know this week, I think it was, they met at Andres in Irvine. Sometimes they meet in Costa Mesa. We also have a community in North San Diego County. And then we go all the way to the beach, and that chapter is PIHRA West Los Angeles, and they meet out of Santa Monica. I mentioned our largest chapter is PIHRA South OC. Our second largest chapter and our founding chapter, and I'll explain that in a moment, is PIHRA Los Angeles. They meet out of downtown LA. Typically, their meetings are at the City Club, which is a fantastic venue. And then lastly, our third largest chapter is PIHRA North OC, and they usually meet out of Anaheim Hills or Anaheim in that area. Really quickly, because I want to invite Aileen to talk a little bit about the chapters in her region. We were founded, it's our 80th anniversary. So we were founded in 1944 by a group of personnel managers, and we were called Professionals in Industrial Relations back then. And it was a group of personnel managers, and some of you, if you've been around for a while, our chapters were called districts and they had numbers. So PIHRA Los Angeles was District 1. And the reason why is because that group of personnel managers, their first meeting was in downtown LA in 1944. I think they met, and or probably a little bit before that. But so that is kind of District 1, where it all started. And Aileen, do you want to talk a little bit about what a chapter meeting is like, what to expect,
Okay. Is
or anything else?
Yeah, no, no worries. I mean, the chapter meetings are both a little bit of networking and a lot of education, is basically how most of those chapter meetings are structured. Whether they be breakfast or lunch is typically most of the breakfasts start at 7:30, and so the first half an hour or so is the check-in at registration, chit-chatting with people. A lot of people will stand around and just chit chat. Most of them have a buffet breakfast, though some are plated. So typically you can go get your plate at any time during that first half hour and sit down at a table and network with the people at your table as well. And then nearly all the chapters have a 1 hour educational program that does usually is CE certified by both HRCI as well as SHRM to give you your continuing education units for attending the meeting. They'll have a variety of different announcements that are PIHRA wide, like, for instance, the California HR Conference or our legal update. Those are PIHRA wide events. And then the chapters will also have their own events that they are planning out. And so luncheons are very similar. It's just the time frame changes and different type of food. But some of the chapters, both North Orange County and San Diego, I'm sorry, North Orange County and South Orange County, are experimenting with evening events that we've had mixers traditionally that you would just come and mix and mingle, and they'll continue to do those, don't get me wrong, but they're also now experimenting with doing like a 4 o'clock meeting that's educational content followed by a mixer. And those, they both did that in the last quarter, and they found that there was a following for that liked that time frame to have education and mixing.
I really like that idea too, because it it makes the mixing more than just, okay, I'm going to shake hands. It's about meeting people and learning something. So that's fantastic. A couple things I want to add is there is a cost usually to go to the chapter meetings. You know, they have to pay for the venue, and there's usually a meal, as Aileen said. So the breakfast meetings, there's networking, there's breakfast, and there's a educational component. As a member, you get the member rate to attend any of the chapter meetings. So when you become a member, we do ask you to select your preferred chapter, but that doesn't mean you can't go to another chapter meeting. I just would recommend that you register for the meeting on the calendar in advance so that you get the member rate. Because say, for example, I live pretty close to PIHRA Long Beach, but I also live close to PIHRA downtown LA. So my preferred chapter may be Long Beach, and they know me. They have me on their roster. We've connected before, but I might decide, hey, PIHRA LA has a great event, a great topic. I really need to master skills in that area. So I'll go to that meeting, but they don't have me on their roster. They might not know me from before. So, but that's it. So members do get the member rate, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. If there was any other questions about chapters, let us know. But they also have their own boards, as Aileen was talking about. So that's a great first place to go to volunteer. And all the chapters are a little different. They have their own culture. So I mean, this is a little bit of an obvious example, but PIHRA Coachella Valley has a different community than PIHRA Santa Monica. PIHRA Coachella Valley has more smaller businesses there. It's a more tight-knit community where Santa Monica has larger corporations in the area. So it's just a different feel. I suggest attend a couple of PIHRA chapter meetings because you might attend one and be like, this isn't my tribe, but you might attend another one and you're like, oh yeah, I'm here. I like their vibe. I like whatever it is that draws you to people. So please attend a couple of them. Eve, not sure if you had a question, but because I saw you pop in, but if you do, feel free to unmute and let us know.
Hi, no, you know what? I was actually eating and I just didn't want to
Oh,
do the camera. But I've been here
no
the whole
problem.
time and really appreciate what everyone has to say. And I am the one who asked to volunteer. So I am interested in volunteering.
Oh,
So,
great. Great. Well, sorry to put you on the spot, but I kind of wanted to
no,
hear someone else's voice for a second. Um, Okay, the last thing I'm going to say about this slide is over here at the bottom are some of our specialty groups. So we have the PIHRA Foundation, we have PIHRA Government Advocacy Team, PIHRA College Relations, and PIHRA Emerging Leaders. I'm going to talk about two on the next slides, but these groups have their own boards as well. And from time to time, they may be looking for volunteers as well. So just so you know, I'd be happy to introduce you to any of the key members of these boards to get you connected, because that's kind of the first step is let's get you connected with them. Because they're quite autonomous, they know their volunteer needs more than I would. And also just getting to know them is a great first step. So let's talk a little bit about Government Advocacy Team. This is a great group. They're very active right now. They work closely with the Cal SHRM Legislative Affairs. So in April, I think it's April, they're going to Sacramento to the Cal SHRM Legislative Conference. I think they're calling it something different right now, so pardon me. But they do a lot of employment law. I've gone before. They visit the Capitol and attend testimonies. Because it's right during the legislative process. So it's a great group. They have what we're now calling Power Hour virtual chats, and they'll invite legislators, elected officials, experts in employment law to have a conversation about what's going on. And right now, because there's a lot of different mandates coming out of the new administration, there may be some implications for HR in California and kind of some uncertainty, like what do I follow? State law, federal law? What do I do? Well, we'll have some experts and they're a great group. Feel free to, and you'll have these slides after this event this afternoon, so you can contact them at their email address. Again, these are not brick and mortar folks, and they're volunteers. So the best way to get a hold of them is through their email address, or I could always send an email introduction for you. The other group I want to talk about that's gotten really active, and I'm excited to see all the work that's coming out, is PIHRA College Relations. They're doing a webinar next week. It's called Navigating Multi-Generational Workplace and Empowering Future Professionals. This is free to everybody. They work with we have, I believe, 12. I have it listed somewhere, 12 student chapters throughout Southern California, and that's our future. So they're really excited about working with them, with their faculty advisors. They've started two folks, one out of PIHRA College Relations and the other out of PIHRA Emerging Leaders. So the woman from College Relations, Stephanie Morris Nelson, and the woman also from Emerging Leaders, Jennifer Blair, have worked together to launch a mentor program out of PIHRA Los Angeles. And now we're hoping to roll that all out to the other chapters. And I'm really hopeful that'll work, because one of the things that our members ask for, and they don't necessarily have to be young professionals. They could be people in transitioning into HR, college graduates, or college students. They're looking for a mentor. So really excited about this group. There's their email if you're interested. Again, I'd also be happy to make an introduction for you. So I don't see any questions. Or Aileen, before I move on, anything you wanted to add during this segment?
Um, Not really with college relations or young professionals. I mean, just that they are really restarting these activities post-pandemic, to bring people in. And so also, I mean, depending upon your member of development of whether or not you want to be a mentor, because that is obviously the big push right now, is finding mentors for people, coming out of college or transitioning into HR.
Great, great. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about member benefits. Here's the top six. I think the community building is great. The California HR, that's why people come to us for the California focused HR education, particularly on the employment law side. And we just Aileen just reminded me we were in San Diego County doing an employment law update in January on the 16th, and then we were in Riverside doing a full day employment law update the following week again in Riverside. So the education, it's affordable, it's accessible, it's actionable. You're going to meet experts that you can get on your speed dial in case anything comes up. Um, and then the other thing that I want to emphasize is the building relationships. And I talked about this already, but I'm going to repeat it. Um, one of the volunteers I used to work with in the past, she said that um, through PIHRA, she developed her HR Fab Five. And what she's talking about is her HR advisory board, her personal HR advisory board. So those are the people that you're going to put on your speed dial. And if something goes haywire at work, like, oh gosh, you got a difficult employee that is creating a challenge for you, you haven't really had a lot of experience with this, you know somebody from PIHRA that you can call and say, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. A lot of times in HR, you're a small HR team, or you really want to shine in your HR team. So you want to have these external resources to your internal team so that you can bring this expertise to the table. So internal networking within your organization is fantastic as well, but having this external work is key. The other thing is that it's not just about having this professional colleague that you can call upon. One of the first people I spent time with, well, when I joined PIHRA on staff, was Paula Cohen. She was a volunteer leader at a PIHRA Long Beach. And when I asked her, like, why have you been a member for so long? And she said that she met her best friend through PIHRA. And I have met so many wonderful people. And I know, Aileen, you could talk about that too. I go spinning with my pirate friends. I go hiking with my pirate friends. I've even gone on a cruise with my pirate friends. So you never know who you're going to meet. And then we have some online tools, which we have a smart employee handbook builder. I think I have a slide on that. And I'll get back to the 80th anniversary. But these are some very valuable online tools that we have for members. It comes with your membership. So we have an award-winning compliance center through Mineral. That includes unlimited calls to PIHRA Live, which is a telephone and online based HR consulting service. So they're staffed by senior certified consultants, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Specific. They are not attorneys, but they'll follow up with you with advice, where to look, forms, sample policies, anything that you need to help with your guide your question and to help you resolve whatever's going on at the workplace. This also includes PIHRA Learn, which is an enterprise-wide learning management system with I think around 250 core courses you can train your employees on. So you can create educational tracks. There's courses on there anywhere from customer service to harassment to some safety courses on there. But will tell you this, the mandatory sexual harassment and OSHA courses, you do have to purchase those as an upgrade, but you'll get them at a fantastic discount. So you get all this for free, and then you could add on the sexual harassment training for managers. And I think there's like a OSHA training that is mandatory. You could just add that on for a discounted price. So if anyone has any questions about Mineral or you're having trouble getting on, it does get temperamental because it's a partner site. So don't hesitate in reaching out to me at membership@pihra.org. Now, I think most of you are members, but if you're interested in talking to one of your colleagues about PIHRA, we have this fantastic campaign. It's the 80th anniversary Throwback to Savings membership campaign, and you can get a membership for $80. So 80 people every month are eligible to get an $80 annual membership. It is, little disclaimer, it is for in-house HR practitioners only who are new to PIHRA or have been lapsed for 3 years. So there are some eligibility requirements, but this is a great deal. So if you have an HR team and you want to give them a gift for Valentine's Day, maybe, get them an $80 membership. Again, they just have to be HR practitioners that are in-house working for one organization. Okay. We also have an HR team membership. So if you have a larger team and want to get a discount for your team and have it all under one umbrella membership, it's kind of like a corporate membership. We have that option as well. Volunteering. I think we've spoken a lot about volunteering. Eve, if you're interested to learn a little bit more, go to PIHRA.org/volunteer. But I think the best thing, if you're interested and you have kind of an area that you're interested in being in, either geographic or functional, just drop me an email. Like, I'm at membership@PIHRA.org, and I'd be happy to introduce you to anyone. We have conference volunteer positions. We're just ended that volunteer application process for our conference in May. But that comes up once a year. The chapters have committee people that they need. So for example, maybe you're interested in getting to know members. You could be on the membership committee and just call members every month. And those may be short-term volunteer opportunities. Then we have longer-term opportunities like being a chapter board member. That's usually a 1-year appointment, unless you're going for chair or vice chair, and those are elected positions. You could be a PIHRA committee chair. So for example, Sonia, I introduced you to earlier. She is the chair of the Membership Development Committee. That's an appointment by the president of the board. And then PIHRA board members, those are elected positions. So there's plenty of volunteer opportunities, whether it's short term, micro, so lots to do. Just reach out. I can help you. Aileen can talk to you a little bit about what's going on in Orange County, so reach out to her. Aileen, anything you want to add here about volunteerism? I think you spoke a lot about it.
Well, I would just say that volunteerism is the way to get the most out of your membership, honestly, is the doors that open is building the relationships, when you join a chapter board or a committee, is people start to know, like, and trust you, and you the same thing, right? And when you walk into a chapter meeting or an association event, people, they know you, that comfort level is there, more introductions come because of that, and it fast tracks your ability to have relationships in the association.
I'm so glad you said that, because my motto, networking is like meeting people, shaking hands. Volunteering to me is networking on steroids, because it's really not who you know, who it's about who knows you. And this is a great opportunity for you to showcase the quality of your work, your planning skills, your time management skills. And so when another board member hears of an open position, for example, or a member sees you up there, speaking every month and being the MC of the chapter meeting, when they know of an open position, they're going to think of you. So that is a great point. All right. So a couple of you asked about chapter seminars and conferences and HR certification. So let's get into that segment. We have a lot of different types of HR education. I talked a little bit about them: virtual learning, chapter meetings. We have PIHRA conferences, the California HR conference, which is coming up. I have a slide on. I told you a little bit about the California employment law update. We typically do that after all the laws are signed in California in September. So that's usually in October, November. And then we do some satellite events in early in the year. So we will go to Riverside in January or San Diego in January. Then we have some specialty programs. These are just two examples. I have some slides on some really fun specialty programs that are coming up. But PIHRA Power Series, we'll do that. We did the PIHRA Real HR event in the past. So learn more about any of these educational opportunities at the calendar. Members get the member rate. So for example, for chapter meetings, you get at least $10 off of the non-member rate. So you also get member rates to attend the California HR conference, the California employment law conferences, and all the other PIHRA seminars and events, including our certification courses. So we do offer certification courses, and I'll get to that in a moment. And if anyone has specific questions about um, attending a conference or anything, just let me know. We could talk about that here. I talked about free webinars. I have a list at the end of my slides of all the things going on in February. So start thinking about your goals with PIHRA. I would suggest that you set a goal to attend at least one PIHRA event every quarter. And if it's not every quarter, attend some professional development or some career advancement activity once a quarter. It could be a PIHRA meeting. It could be reconnecting with an old colleague. It could be visiting your college professor one time, or just going on LinkedIn and setting up an informational interview with someone that you see on LinkedIn that you're interested in finding out more about. So set that goal for yourself now. Getting certified. I got certified while I was working actually during the pandemic and while I was working at PIHRA. I think we have one of the best certification instructors west of the Mississippi. Richard Dawson is fantastic. If you did have a specific question about HR certification, please put it in the chat or feel free to unmute. I did the SHRM SCP. I loved the materials. The test is no joke. It is a difficult exam. I studied for over 150 hours for that exam. So, Aileen, any experience you have with this or anything you want to add about certification?
Well, I too got certified, but I have the APHR through HRCI. And yeah, I did a preparatory course, which I would highly recommend because some of the areas like compensation, like, wow, there's a whole science to compensation if that's not your specialty area. And so, and yeah, they gave flashcards, which really were very, very helpful in prepping for the exam. And then, yeah, it's a real proctored exam at a test center. And so you really have to know the answers to be able to pass the test. So, yeah, but it's a great thing to be able to put on your resume. It's a really good resume builder, and a lot of organizations require a credential for them to hire you into roles. So it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. And it really shows mastery. And I have imposter syndrome big time. So for me, it really helped me feel comfortable about my skills. And the best thing about our certification courses, they go really fast. So I'd like to warn people, unless you're a great test taker, which I am not a good, I know that about myself. So this is um, this experience is very unique to the individual.
Mhm.
But the class, it goes through the materials quickly, but what I like the most is that you're meeting people that are going through the preparation and probably have the same exam window as you. So I started my own study groups through the people I met in the classes. So I don't see anybody asking specific questions in this area. I highly recommend it. There's data out there that if you get the more senior certified certifications, you can increase your salary for up to from wait, you can increase your salaries up to $20,000 and maybe even more with some of the senior certifications. And so it depends on who you are and what you want to master, but I also really like the PHR California because in California, everything is, we're different in California. Our employment laws are a little bit different. You gotta hand it to California. And so showing that mastery of California laws, which is really what the PHR California is about, California-based laws, is a great thing to put on your resume. Okay, I'm really excited about this. Talent Symposium is on Thursday, March 20th, and it's everything to do with talent, recruitment. I don't recall exactly who the speakers are, but they may be talking about different tech that is used in the recruitment process. Any legal implications on recruiting, any inclusion implications in that has to do with talent acquisition. So, and it's going to be in Mesa. I'm really excited about this. We have some good speakers. I know one of the speakers, Tremaine Friend, is fantastic. Um, this is a California HR conference. We're hosting this on May 4th through the 6th. We'll be at the Hilton Anaheim. If you have any questions about this, let me know. But there's going to be 2 days with the learning sessions. Learning sessions are in, I think, 11 to 12 different tracks, ranging from employment law to HR strategy to leadership and professional development. There's so much going on. There's socials going on. So this is a highlight of my year, and I'm on my feet for 12 to 15 hours each day because I get to meet all you. There's so much going on. So highly suggest you register for this if you haven't already. And this is the exciting one. We're going on an HR cruise, everybody. This is happening in February of 2026. It's 5 nights, LA to Cabo. We're leaving out of the port in Long Beach, going to Cabo. We stay in Cabo overnight. It's actually pretty affordable. So during the 5 nights, there's 2 full days of HR content, and you could bring a friend to make the cruise portion pretty inexpensive. I think it's $500 per person, approximately 550 if you're sharing a room. So I think that we're about to open registration. Haven't heard that it's open yet, but I'm really excited about this opportunity. We already have a fantastic speaker lined up.
Yeah,
And
and this is
oh,
pausing for a second, is this is a very family friendly sort of thing. So you could bring, there's going to be the ability for you to pay for the rooms, for the cruise part, and then for the conference part separately. So like I'm planning to bring my spouse. He doesn't want to go to the HR content part, right? But but
that'll be fun.
I have it with me and he can go lay out at the pool while I'm doing the HR content, right? And if you have children, this is on Royal Caribbean, they have their kids program. So there's built-in daycare if you bring your children along with you. So yeah, it's a great way to get some education, network, and have fun with some of your PIHRA member friends, and then also include your family too.
Love it. Yes, yes. Bring the partners, bring the kids. We're all going to have a valuable educational time and fun. Okay, so this is the slide. This next slide is the one I promised you. There's so much going on in February, and we're halfway done with February. This morning we had a webinar. We're here at the orientation. I don't know. Oh, North OC is having an event on the 20th. That's a morning event or is that a lunchtime event? Do you know, Aileen?
It's a breakfast event and it's on HR data. But I want to mention, like on this slide, that's Julie Mangarella Jennings.
Yeah.
And she is my friend. That's how small of a world PIHRA becomes, is that she and I met when I was the chair, the VP of Education for PIHRA, and she served on the conference committee with me. And I have seen her in the last 2 days, which is like the small world
You
as I saw her.
did?
Yes, at the South OC chapter, which is the first time she's been there since the pandemic, but I'm also part of PIHIP, which is a benefits association, and she was there also. So those are like the relationships that come from this association. We've been friends now for almost 20 years because of our involvement with PIHRA.
That's so funny you say that. Julie was the first person I met when I went she was the chair of PIHRA Long Beach when I joined PIHRA Long Beach. So yeah, she's close to my heart too. I'm so glad you saw her. Anyway, um, I don't know where you guys all reside. Some of you are dropping off. We have 1 minute left. Please attend a meeting. It's I know virtual is convenient. There's nothing like being in the same room with people. Honestly, it's fantastic. Here's a lot to choose from. Let me know if you have any questions about this. And let's stay connected. We have a great LinkedIn company page, so follow us on LinkedIn. I know some of you have already reached out to me on LinkedIn. Our Facebook group is kind of active. We're very active on Instagram, do some activity on X. We have a PIHRA forum. I'll be honest, it's not very active, but it is a place for you to ask questions and things of that sort. Again, nothing beats going to a meeting. And thank you so much. I told you we'd spend 60 minutes together. I used it all up. Reach out to me anytime you need something. I'd be happy to help you. And thank you for spending this time with us.
Thank you, Lily.
Thank
Thank,
you, Eve. Thank you, Aileen. Really appreciate you.
we'll see you guys soon, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I appreciate it. And we'll
Where
see.
do you